शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। Namaste. Now we will see the meanings of Shri Vishnu Sahasranama based on Shri Shankaracharya Bhashya for verse 61. First, we will see the verse. Sudhanva khanda parashur daruno dravina pradaha divisprik sarvadrigvyaso vachaspatirayo nijaha. The namas herein are Sudhanva, Khanda Parashuhu or Akhanda Parashuhu, Darunaha, Dravina Pradaha, Divisprik, Sarvadrigvyasaha, Vachaspatirayo Nijaha. So there are 7 namas herein. We will see the meanings of each of these one by one. The first nama is Sudhanva. Shobhanam Indriyamayam Sharngam Dhanurasya Astiti. The one to whom belongs the beautiful Sharanga bow that represents the sense organ principles. So the nama here is Sudhanva. Sudhanva. Dhanu, it is made up of 2 components, Su and Dhanva. So Dhanva, the original form of the word is Dhanu. Dhanu. Dhanu is the bow. Su means good, beautiful. So the one who is endowed with a beautiful bow. Acharya in his commentary names the bow that Bhagavan Narayana has, Sharangam Dhanuhu. So the one who has a bow called Sharanga. Now, what does that Sharanga bow represent? Acharya says, Indriyamayam. So the sense organs or the sense organ principles are represented by the Sharanga Dhanu. The idea here is the form of Lord Narayana. When we see Shuklambaradharam, Vishnum, Shashivarnam, Chaturbhujam. So the Bhagavan Narayana is described to hold various ayudhas, Chakra, Gada, the Vaijayanti Mala. So all those adornments are there. They are not mere adornments. They stand for each and every creative principle. Just in the previous, one of the previous namas, we saw in the term Vanamali. So we saw that Vanamali, the Vanamala represents the Vaijayanti Mala, and that the Vaijayanti Mala stands for the Tanmatras. Tanmatras refer to the subtle causal form of the elements, 5 elements. So similarly here, the Dhanu or the bow called Sharanga here is a representative of one of the evolutes from the Paramatman, caused by the Paramatman. So what is the evolute? The sense organ principles. So we see in the Sankhya philosophy, in the process of explaining the creation, that the Paramatman, so especially in Sankhya, we see from the Prakriti, the Mahat principle emerges, the pure Sattvic principle emerges, from that Ahankara, then from that the Tanmatras, the Indriyas, and then the 5 elements, they emerge. So in this way the creation emerges. So all these creative elements or all these manifestations are seen in the Bhagavan in the Vishnu Sahasranama, especially in the commentary of Acharya, as various adornments, as the sword or the bow or the mala that he wears. So the adornments of Bhagavan Narayana, they are not mere adornments, they stand for the various evolutes. So the very form of Bhagavan Narayana is not any form which is to be understood as some human form. It is an embodiment, or it is a personification, or it is the Murta Swarupa, the form which is given to the various components of the creation. So that idea is brought out through this interpretation of the term Sudhanva. The next nama is Khandaparashuhu or Akhandaparashuhu. So based on this, there are two interpretations. As the nama is read in two ways, Khandaparashu and Akhandaparashu, the interpretation is also based on these two ways of looking at this nama. First, we see the interpretation for the term Khandaparashu. Shatrunam Khandanat Khandaha Parashurasya Jamadagnyakritere. So that which cuts the enemies asunder is Khanda, the one who is endowed with a battle axe in his incarnation as the son of sage Jamadagni. So here Khanda and Parashu are the two components. So what does that mean? Khanda means that which cuts. So whom and what is that which cuts? Parashuhu. Parashuhu is the battle axe. So the battle axe that cuts, and the one to whom such battle axe belongs to, Parashu belongs to, he is Khanda Parashuhu. So in his incarnation or avatara as Parashurama, as being the son of sage Jamadagni, we see that Bhagavan wielded a parashu, an axe that cut asunder, that removed many people who were stumbling blocks or bottlenecks in the path of dharma. And hence the one who wields such parashu or battle axe that removed the adharmic elements. So in that sense, the first interpretation conveys the Parashurama avatara as Khanda Parashuhu. The second way of looking at the term is Akhanda Parashuhu, which is well within the grammatical rules to split it this way. Akhandaha Parashuhu Asyetiva, the one whose battle axe is unbroken. So Akhanda means that which is not broken. Parashuhu is again the axe. So the one whose axe is not broken. So we see that in the Parashurama Avatara, Bhagavan fights so many wars to eliminate many adharmic kings. So even after participating, after fighting so many wars, his weapon is unbroken. So the one who is endowed with such a powerful weapon that establishes dharma, so he is Akhanda Parashuhu. The third nama is Darunaha. Sanmarga Virodhinam Darunatvat. Darunaha, the one who is terrible to those who are opposed to the path of righteousness. So the term Daruna itself means the one who is terrible. So is the Bhagavan, Lord Narayana, terrible to one and all? Is he terrible always? To that, Acharya clarifies, Sanmarga Virodhinam. So those who are opposed to the right way of living, the dharmic way of living, for them, Bhagavan is Daruna, terrible. So just now we saw in the Parashurama Avatara, he took that incarnation to remove adharmic elements. In the same way, in Rama Avatara and Krishna Avatara, Bhagavan was Daruna, terrible to the evil adharmic entities. The next nama is Dravina Pradaha. Dravinam Vanchitam Bhaktebhyaha Pradadaditi. The one who grants wealth desired by the devotees. Dravina Pradaha. This term has two components, Dravina and Prada. Prada means the one who gives. Dravina means wealth. So the one who gives wealth, the one who grants wealth. So Dravinam Vanchitam. So whatever is the Dravina which is Vanchita, whatever is the wealth that is desired, by whom? The devotees, the Bhagavan certainly grants. Artho Jignasur Artharthi Jnani cha Bharatarshabha. So whatever is sought with full faith and devotion, that is granted, be it wealth, be it overcoming sufferings in the form of illnesses and ailments, be it knowledge about the true nature of oneself and the world. So what the devotee seeks with utmost devotion, that is granted by Bhagavan. So that is indicated by the term Dravina Pradaha. The fifth nama is Divisprik. Divaha Sparshanat, the one who touched the heaven. So this nama has two components, Divi and Sprik. Sprik refers to the one who touches. What was touched? Divi, the heaven. So Swarga. So the one who touched the heaven. In Vamanavatara, we see among the three steps that the Bhagavan kept, in one step he touched or covered or measured the heaven. So that Vamanavatara act of Bhagavan of measuring the heaven by his footstep, that glory is indicated by the term Divisprik. The next term is Sarvadrigvyasaha. So here there are a few interpretations. We will see them one by one. So the first interpretation sees the term as one nama, Sarvadrigvyasaha. In later interpretation, we see Sarvadrig is seen as one nama, and then Vyasa is another nama. So, and that word Sarvadrik itself is given a couple of interpretations. So we will take up one by one. Now, Sarvadrik Vyasa being considered as one full nama. We will see that now. Sarvadrisham Sarvajnananam Vistarakrit Vyasaha. The one who expands all knowledge. So here Sarva, Drik, Vyasaha, these are the three components. So Vyasaha means Vistarakrit. So the term Vyasa means the one who expands. So what was expanded by Bhagavan? Sarva Drisham, Sarva Jnananam. So Bhagavan expands all knowledge, in the sense that all knowledge emerges from the Bhagavan. So, and one more thing is that all the great rishis, all the sages who composed various texts of Shiksha, Vyakaranam, Chandas, Niruktam, Jyotisham. So all those who expounded, explained and expanded the Shastras, they are all inspired by the Paramatman, and by their divine inspiration, they have composed, expanded the various systems of knowledge which derive their source from the Vedas, and those Vedas are nothing but the Nishvasita or the breath of the Bhagavan, and hence in reality being inspired by the Bhagavan, who is also the indwelling consciousness. So by that all knowledge were expounded by great rishis and munis, and hence in that sense Bhagavan is described as the one who expands all knowledge, who expounds, who expands all knowledge. So the fountainhead of all knowledge. So in that sense, the first term or the first interpretation presents Sarvadrigvyasaha. Now in the second interpretation, we see that Sarvadrik itself is taken as one nama, and Vyasa is considered as a separate nama. And then the term Sarvadrik itself is interpreted in a couple of ways. So let us see them. So the first among the interpretations of the term Sarvadrik is first taken up. Athava Sarvacha Sadrik Cheti Sarvadrik Sarvakaram Jnanam. The one who is all kinds of knowledge. So Sarvadrik refers to Drik again here means Jnanam, and Sarva is Sarvakaram. So the various kinds of knowledge. So the Bhagavan himself is the various kinds of knowledge, be it spiritual, be it mundane, all these kinds of, be it Paravidya or be it Aparavidya, all those kinds of knowledge is Bhagavan only. So that is taken as the meaning of the word Sarvadrik. So that is the first interpretation. Or Sarvasya Drishtitvatva, the one who is the vision of all. So we see the word Drik. Previously, the term Drik was interpreted as knowledge. Here, Drik is presented as Drishti, the ability to see. So we, in the Purusha Sukta, we hear that Sahasra Shirusha Purushaha Sahasrakshas Sahasrapat Sahasrakshaha, the innumerable eyes that see. So that is the eyes, or that is the vision of the self same Bhagavan Narayana. It is Bhagavan, the Paramatman, that sees through all our eyes. It is the Bhagavan that walks through all our feet. It is the Bhagavan who moves around by the entire physical frame. So in that sense, Sarvadrik, the one who is the vision of all. That is the second interpretation to the term Sarvadrik. Now, Vyasaha, the term Vyasaha, we see a long exposition to the term Vyasa. It is like this: Rigvedadi vibhagena chaturdha vedaha vyastaha kritaha adyo vedaha ekavimshatidha kritaha dvitiyaha vedaha ekottara shatadha kritaha samavedaha sahasradha kritaha atharva vedo navadha shakha bhedena kritaha evam anyani puranani vyastani aneneti vyasaha brahma. The meaning is the one who divided the Vedas into Rigveda and in total 4 divisions. The first Veda was made to have 21 divisions. The second one with 101 divisions. Samaveda was divided into 1000 divisions. Atharvana Veda into 9 divisions. In the same way, the one who divided Puranas and other texts, and the one who did it is Chaturmukha Brahma, the 4-faced creator. So here, in essence, the word independent word Vyasaha here means the Chaturmukha Brahma. So in Sanskrita, there are 2 terms, Brahman, that is Brahma, shorter, Brahma, and Brahma. So wherever the term, the shorter Brahma is used, normally it indicates the all-pervasive, supreme Paramatman. And Brahma, the longer usage, refers to the creator. In the series of the triad, that is Srishtikarta, Sthitikarta, and then Layakarta. The Srishtikarta is Brahmadeva, the Chaturmukha Brahma. So that Srishtikarta, Brahma, is denoted by the longer expression, that is Brahma. So here the Chaturmukha Brahma is indicated by the term Vyasaha. And what is the meaning of Vyasaha? How it is interpreted here? Vyastani anena iti Vyasaha. The one who expanded and divided. Especially here, the connotation of the word Vyasa is the one who divided, categorized, and organized. So the one who did it is Vyasaha. The one who divides, categorizes, and organizes, he is Vyasaha. So, what did the Chaturmukha Brahma divide and organize? He divided and organized the Puranas. Of course, the 18 Puranas, they were all categorized, organized, composed. So by the Brahma, that Brahma in his human form was Maharishi Vedavyasa. So, but essentially, such a massive work of creation could have been done by the creative principle, that is the Brahma himself, and hence Vyasa, Maharishi Badarayana, Krishnadvaipayana Vyasa himself has to be seen as a Srishtikarta. So he wrote, organized the Puranic lore, and not only that, the Vedic lore was also categorized and organized by Vyasa. In what manner? So the entire mass of the Vedas were divided into four: Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and Atharvana Veda. And each of these Vedas, for them, they were branches of the Vedas were created. So for the Rigveda, the Adya Veda, the first for the Rigveda, it was divided into or organized into 21 branches, and the Yajurveda, the Dvitiya Veda, was organized into 101 branches. And then the Samavedic lore, the Samavedic knowledge, the mantras therein were organized into 1,000 branches. And finally, the Atharvana Veda was organized into 9 branches. So, the one who did such a massive organization of the Vedic lore and also the Puranic lore, so that it is easily transmitted from generation to generation. The knowledge is easily preserved and systematically passed on to the next generation. The one who did such a massive job, such a massive work of organizing knowledge, he is Vyasa. He is Maharishi Vedavyasa, who is none other than the Brahma. And that Brahma, the Chaturmukha Brahma, is again the aspect of Bhagavan Narayana himself. So that is indicated through this interpretation given by Acharya Shankara. The seventh nama is Vachaspati Rayonijaha. Vacho Vidyayaha Patihi Vachaspatihi Jananyam na Jayata iti Ayonijaha iti Savisheshanam ekam nama. The one who is the Lord of speech, that is knowledge, is Vachaspati. The one who is not born in the womb of the mother, this is one name with an adjective. So here, the term Vachaspati Ayonijaha. Grammatically, Vachaspatihi, Ayonijaha are two independent namas. But based on the meaning, they have been clubbed as one nama by Acharya. So what is the meaning that is conveyed here? Vachaspatihi, Vachaha, Vidyayaha Patihi is Vachaspati, the Lord of knowledge, the source of knowledge. So he is Vachaspati. And what is the Vidya that is indicated here? It is the highest Vidya. In Bhagavad Gita, we see Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam. Among all kinds of knowledge, I am in the form of the Atma Vidya. Atma Vidya means the indwelling pure consciousness. So that is the pure nature of each and every living entity. So this knowledge is the highest knowledge, and then I am to be seen as that knowledge. So that is the knowledge which is indicated, and it is for this knowledge that the Bhagavan is the Pati, Vachaspati, Vidyapatihi, and Ayonijaha, the one who is not born from a mother normally. So this principle, or this Bhagavan, whom we see as the source of supreme knowledge, is not born. what is the idea here? Not born here refers to the one who is eternal. Normally, when we see there is a birth, then there is a death. So, then how do we explain those avataras? Avataras here they are explained by Bhagavan Shankaracharya himself as Vaishnavim Swam Mayam Mula Prakritim Vashikritya Ajaha Avyayaha Bhutanam Ishwaropi San Devakyam Vasudevat Amshaha Kila Sambhabhuva. So in the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Acharya clarifies that Bhagavan is not born. He uses his Maya and he uh, engineers his manifestation. So in essence, the Bhagavan is neither born or neither is there an end to him. So that is indicated by Ayonijaha. The eternal nature of Bhagavan is indicated by Ayonijaha, and Vachaspati refers to that he is the highest source of knowledge. So the eternal highest source of knowledge, which is in the form of pure consciousness, that is indicated by this entire compound or the combination of two namas, Vachaspati Rayonijaha. So Acharya also says this is a name with an adjective. So the Vachaspati seems to be the nama or the noun, and Ayonijaha is the adjective here. So Vachaspati refers to the source of knowledge, which is Ayonija, which is not born, which indicates the eternal source of knowledge. So with these 7 namas in verse 61, we have thus far seen 573 namas. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishnarpanamastu.